Hey, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Yeah, we are about to head into the endgame of this duology. I've been told to hang on to my butt. So, yeah. Our butt might be going in strange, weird trajectories. Just to calm mind this last spell. Let's go.
Pipe in hand, Sholmes looked down at the thick, rolling fog outside our window. I wonder exactly how many mysteries are out there, hidden within this bed of fog, he said. Indeed, a most bizarre incident, born of a curious advertisement. A hellhound's mad gallop through the shadows of a serial murder, an executed man's graveyard resurrection in the dead of night. And a commonplace killing in a small, forgotten room at the edge of town. There is, naturally, always another side to every case, of which most remain ignorant. And it is that other side which compels me to the scene of the crime, Wilson. So quickly now, take your hat and let's be on our way, my dear fellow. For our adventure is not over yet. Come, the game is afoot.
He said the thing. Alright, I see references to the Red-Headed League and to Hound of Baskervilles. Let's see where this goes then. Alright. 8 days after that earth-shattering trial and Kazuma regaining his memory. We were in the foyer of one of London's most luxurious hotels, the Great Waterloo Hotel. Professor Mikotoba is due to arrive at any moment. Yes, I'm so glad we got here in time. Susato-san hasn't been the same since what happened. Not that I'm surprised. The truth about Kazuma-sama's father. Do you suppose my father knew that he was actually the mass murderer, the professor, you mean? I knew that's what she was thinking about. There's a good chance, I'd say. I mean, they did come here to London together 16 years ago, didn't they? Yes, that's true. Come to think of it, didn't you say that Professor Mikotoba knew about Kazuma going missing in Hong Kong as well? That's right, but for some reason he wasn't at liberty to talk to me about it. That probably means he knows then about Kazuma showing up here in London with amnesia, and that he's regained his memory now. Ah, there she is. Oh, Father! Hello, Susato. How are you? I'm very well, thank you. We're delighted you've arrived safe and sound. They look dapper in English clothes. Hello, Mr. Naruhodo. Very kind of you to take the trouble to meet us here. Oh no, not at all. It's my pleasure. I've heard all about your extraordinary exploits here in London, you know. The news has crossed the seas. It has. I always look forward to reading the monthly reports that arrive with the steamships from Britain. Oh, I see. Well, thank you very much. Who is this man? And why do I feel as though I've seen him before? I take it from your expression that you can't quite place me. In that case, how about a little reminder, Seishiro? A thumb tap should do it. Yes. A thumb tap? What? Here we go then. Let me just rummage through my bag real quick. Let me just get this. Got it. Where's my gavel? Where is the gavel? Aha! I hereby pronounce the defendant, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, guilty. Ah, Oh! You're... Wasn't it not guilty, though? The court will now hear the trial of Rinsuke Naruhodo. Your Excellency! Hello, Judge Jigoku. How are you? It's been a long time. Ha 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 ha. Good, you've remembered now. That really did the trick. Guilty! Ha 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 ha. Only I was declared not guilty, wasn't I? And there was no laughing at the time. So, London again after all this time. Hard to believe it's been 10 years. To be honest, I never thought I'd be back. Neither did I. I didn't imagine Japan would ever be invited to an international symposium like this. Though, really, I doubt anyone did, to be honest. It's all thanks to you, isn't it, Seishiro? What are you talking about, Eugene? Of course, Judge Jigoku must complete the set. He's the other man who 16 years ago came to London with Kazuma's father and Professor Mikotoba. He's the third visiting scholar. Does that make him sus as well? When we last left off, we were considering that Mikotoba is potentially sus. And that means, yeah, Jigoku-sama is also sus, I guess. Yeah, I wonder where this is going. Well, all those passport checks and luggage searches at the border took rather a lot of time. I must say, I'm very envious of your ministerial status. You didn't have to go through any of that, did you? I knew you were jealous. Ha 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 ha. Sorry? Ministerial status? Yes, didn't you know? Seishiro here is also Japan's Minister of Foreign Affairs. It was his personal insistence that allowed you to take Kazuma's space here on the study tour. Huh. Isn't that a completely different branch of law? I mean, maybe Japan works differently. Maybe Meiji-era Japan works differently, but I'm pretty sure if you're serving as Minister of Foreign Affairs, you can't be a practicing judge at the same time. Not that there's any rules against it, it's just that your duties kinda are both full-time jobs, right? Guilty as charged. Ha 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 ha. Oh, well, thank you very much. He's really every bit as important as he looks. Ah, yes, now, Naruhodo. I received a telegram from Lord Strongheart yesterday. Oh, you did? It appears that some things came to light in a trial you were involved with 8 days ago. About what happened 10 years ago. That tragedy. Yes, could you tell us any more about it? So, how was the voyage here? Well, 50 days at sea is a long time by anyone's standards. But it wasn't as bad as when we first came 16 years ago. No, that's true. Then I truly wondered if we wouldn't be drifting in the vast ocean for the rest of our lives. Excuse me. This time we followed the same route as you, so we were able to relax and enjoy the experience. Ah, so you stopped in France's beautiful capital, Paris. We did, yes. Though only for one night. And yesterday evening we left the port of Dunkirk for Dover. Just in time for the symposium, in fact. It starts tomorrow. It's wonderful that you were invited to attend such an important international event. I'm very proud of you, Father. It's thanks to Seishiro here. 16 years ago, he managed to ingratiate himself with Britain's Attorney General. I'm sure that's why he was invited. I suppose you could say I'm something of an appendage by default. Speak for yourself, Eugene. You were close friends with the Professor of Forensic Science at a major hospital. Yes, well, I'd rather not dredge all that up, really. No, there's been a lot of water under the bridge since then, but it doesn't bring him back. And bodies under the bridge. Kazuma's father, I suppose. The Professor, the killer who took the lives of 5 members of the British aristocracy, was actually Kazuma's father, wasn't he? That's correct. Genshin Impact. Asogi. Genshin Impact? You knew, I presume, father? Yes. He was a close friend at the time. Genshin came to Britain as a police detective. He was studying investigative techniques at Scotland Yard. I've never understood what drove the man to commit such heinous acts. It was a closed trial, so the public never knew the truth, and he was executed with little ado. To this day, very few people know what really happened, even in our homeland. But what about Kazuma? Did he know? Did he know the truth about his father? No, of course not. He was taught his father passed from sickness. However, I suspect he may have had his doubts. Oh, why? As you know, I tried to guide Kazuma growing up as if he were my own son. Then one day, he came to my office at the university and said, I've decided. I want to travel to Great Britain and study there. Do you think he wanted to come here to investigate his father's death? I don't know. But when I looked into his eyes, I did know that there was no way I'd be able to stop him. Something else came to light in that trial the other day, actually. Oh, what? Well, having disappeared in Hong Kong and been missing for almost a year, Kazuma has since turned up here in London, working as the apprentice of Lord Van Zeeks. What? What? That's news to us! So... Lord Strongheart's telegram neglected to mention that part, then. As you know, we both thought Kazuma had died on the steamship during our voyage to Great Britain in January. But he didn't die. He's alive. As you knew, didn't you, father? In actual fact, no. What I did know is that when your ship docked in Hong Kong, he mysteriously vanished. We sent a team of investigators to Hong Kong to try and ascertain what had happened, but to no avail. But he's still alive, and here in London, you say. I never dared even to dream it. Why on earth did the young man not make contact? The government and police have been chasing clues fruitlessly for months now. Well, it seems that he was suffering from amnesia. What? Amnesia? When we first came across him again here in London, he didn't know who either of us were. I see. He only regained his memory 8 days ago. This is unbelievable. Yes, it's quite miraculous. I wonder why Lord Strongheart didn't let us know. I must speak with him urgently. I wonder how Kazuma's been these past few days. Would it be wrong of us to go and visit him? That began 16 years ago now. It's a distant memory, really. It was Eugen here, Genshin Isogi, and myself. We were the original trio. The first judicial scholars from Japan to travel overseas to study. Ocean voyages were not what they are today. I can tell you. 16 years ago, things were tough for their generation. Your father was an exceptionally fine medical student at the university at the time, young lady. Yes, grandmother told me. He went to do research at a great London hospital to study autopsy, practically unheard of in Japan. Yes, it was an eerie place, somewhere between the back of a prison and a burial ground. Not more talk of graves. Very often, there's no one willing to deal with bodies following autopsy work. So you see, autopsy labs are something of an unavoidable relationship with graveyards and prisons. Not my cup of tea at all. Do you remember that Scottish prison governor? Kaiden, his name was. He was a good man. Yes, but then of course in our 6th year here, everything changed with that dreadful case. When Genshin was arrested, it was a series of the most gruesome murders. I simply couldn't believe it. I'd known the man for years. I was a witness of the secret hearing, and I tried to speak in his defense, but you went a little too far and ended up facing charges yourself, didn't you? Well, suffice to say that after that trial, we were sent back to Japan. There was nothing more we could do to save Genshin. He was a lost cause, sadly. If you'll excuse us now. Yes, I'd like to get this trunk up to my room as soon as possible. Oh, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have held you up here for so long. I'll call for the porter then. Just wait here. Susato-san's gone off at a run. I'd like to stay and talk more, but I do have various preparations to make for tomorrow. Yes, of course. It must be a big responsibility representing our entire country. I wish you the best of luck. Naruhodo, I hope you'll keep an eye on Susato for me. Keep looking after her as you obviously have been. Oh no, I mean, if anyone's looking after anyone, it's her looking after me. Well, I do appreciate you being there for her, after all. I've been a miserable father to her. I've thoroughly let her down. Sorry? Well, what do you mean? Well, it was 16 years ago that I started my long study tour here in Britain, as you know. The very year Susato was born. Yes, I heard. The birth of my daughter was the most joyous event of my life, but... well, sadly it was accompanied by the most tragic event of my life, too. Oh, yes. Susato-san hinted at something like that. It was a rather turbulent time at home. Anyway, I won't bore you with the details. The point is, I became rather less dependable than befits a grown man. And it was then that Seishiro offered me the opportunity to study here in Great Britain. I was too worried about you to leave you behind. So perhaps I was a little heavy-handed when it came to persuading you to accompany me to London. So, that's what happened in a nutshell. And that's also the reason why I now feel compelled to give my daughter as many opportunities as I dare. But the world does not readily afford young women such things, I must say. I completely understand, Professor. Ah, one other thing, Naruhodo. If I may be so bold, I have a favor to ask you. Oh, really? Of course. Well, what can I do for you? Well, the thing is... I'm so sorry that took so... Beppo! What are you doing here, Beppo? Wait, is that... No, that's not... Is that Beppo? No, Beppo... Beppo's the coach driver. This is his boss. Right? That's his boss. Wait, what's his boss doing here? Isn't he a coach driver? Did he get fired? Is he working at the hotel now? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry that took so long. Miss Susato. Now then. Allow us to take your bags. Allow me to take your bags. One moment, if you please, Porter. Oh, of course, sir. The machine around your neck. It's a camera, I believe. Quite right, sir. Just 5 shillings for a lovely photograph to commemorate a wonderful stay at the hotel, sir. Well, I think given the occasion, we could justify the expense. Ah, yes, of course. Cute. I'd like to thank you for coming with me, Mr. Naruhodo. It's really made Father very happy, I think. Oh, well, I'm pleased then. Oh, you were interrupted before. Professor Mikotoa was about to ask me something. Shall we return to Baker Street then? I expect Iris will have some delicious tea waiting for us. Yes, let's go. I'm getting more and more anxious about Kazuma though. Perhaps I'll try to meet with Lord Strongheart later and ask after him. Yeah, you know what? I'm curious. Let's go. Here's the final draft of the opening address of tomorrow's proceedings. I supplemented your original with the figures you asked for from the yard. I see. Excellent work. Thank you. You're welcome, my lord. What's Lord Van Zeek's doing here? Hi, there seems to be an awful lot of tension in the air, wouldn't you say? This place is stifling enough as it is. We really don't need any more tension. My apologies. I didn't notice you come in. Your small stature and dark dress make you all but invisible to me. Oh, no, it's entirely my fault for wearing black, I'm sure. From now on, you must dress in white from head to toe whenever you come in here. Now then, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, my lord. I'm right here. Kill me now. Is something wrong? Perhaps it's a little too hot in here for me. Oh, no, not at all. I mean, I've never experienced a room at such a perfect temperature. If you're sure, the beads of sweat carving their way down your face seem to suggest otherwise. Because of the daggers you're staring at me with, mainly. As you're no doubt aware, my International Forensic Science Symposium begins tomorrow. In fact, your father arrived in London earlier today, I hear that. Oh, yes, that's right, my lord. He's extremely honored to have been invited. I'll leave the remaining of preparations to the meeting room in your capable hands then, Lord Van Zeeks. I will attend at once. He gave you a very cold stare as he left, didn't he? I know, but I haven't done anything, have I? These past few days, my feet have barely touched the ground, I must say. My dedicated right hand of many years was recently put out of action in spectacular fashion. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Is your left hand still of service? Mr. Naruhodo, he's talking about Dr. Scythe. Of course. I'm terribly sorry about that. I was just, fear not. You've done nothing wrong. Dr. Scythe's own wrongdoing precipitated the situation. You needn't concern yourself with it any further. That would be a lot easier to do if it weren't for the piercing stare you're giving me. Lord Van Zeeks is doing an admirable job of holding the fort. Though disturbingly, his apprentice has been missing since yesterday. Oh, missing? What's become of Kazuma-sama now? Missing me. Not long ago, visitor numbers to the Great Exhibition exceeded 30 million. 30 million? Are there even that many people in the world? As a comparison, Mr. Naruhodo, the population of the imperial capital Tokyo is 2 million. I will be opening the International Forensic Science Symposium in the exhibition's main auditorium. This event has been 2 years in the making. 2 years of preparations and negotiations with other countries. It sounds like a tremendous achievement. Congratulations. The 20th century will see the wholesale adoption of forensic investigation techniques, and cooperation between policing organizations around the globe will be essential. Which is why this landmark first symposium had to be hosted here at the heart of our great British Empire. Oh yes, let loose the doves. In order that Scotland Yard can become the leading investigative organization in the new world. He's the same as ever, I see. That passion of his is quite something. You're every bit as passionate in your own way, I'm sure, Mr. Naruhodo. I'm the only person in this country who truly cares about a future that embraces forensic science. It was my intention to become Her Majesty's Attorney General and reform the Yard from the ground up. So the disgrace of the forensic investigation team has been a bitter blow to my ambitions. I first established the forensic investigation team a year ago, experimentally to start with. With Dr. Scythe at the helm, it was a steady accruing and impressive record of achievement. I was on the verge of changing its name and elevating its status to a full-blown forensic investigation department. And can you not do that now? Obviously, nobody wants to hear anything about it at the moment. Even I can't keep this story out of the papers. 6 million Londoners will be cursing forensic science now. This incident will set back our country's advancement in the field by a good 10 years, I'd say. Unintended repercussions of our trial. You simply couldn't have overlooked what had happened, though. Of course not. We should all be grateful to you both. Anyway, I'll still reform this country's policing when I become Attorney General. This might delay my plans, but it won't alter them. Nothing will stand in my way. He's playing it as if though he's not involved. But I wonder if that's true. About Lord Van Zeek's apprentice. Ah, yes. That came as a surprise to me, I must say, that you and he are old friends. How did he become an apprentice to Lord Van Zeek's in the first place? He came about 3 months ago. An unidentified Asian man was apprehended by border police. They found him hiding aboard a large goods vessel. Oh my. So he stowed away to get here. He had no papers to identify him, no passport, and he was suffering from amnesia too. Other than the fact that he was clearly of East descent, there were no clues as to who he was. So I decided to assign him to Lord Van Zeek's. That way I could keep an eye on him. But then, why the mask? I didn't want to burden Lord Van Zeek's with tiresome explanations about why he had an Eastern apprentice. Because it would be so much easier to explain why he was wearing a mask. He's proving to be a great help to Lord Van Zeek's. I have high hopes for his future. By the way, do you know where he's gone? No idea, but I believe he's left London for the time being. Oh. I take it you also didn't know. But the man's father was one of our country's most infamous criminals, I think. Genshin Asogi. What we learned from that trial 8 days ago was a huge shock. Finding out my friend's father was... yes, Genshin Asogi. The professor case 10 years ago caused a great stir here in Britain. He was such awful murders, and unprecedented, using a ferocious dog as a murder weapon. And no one would have believed the culprit was a foreign student invited to study here by the government. So the true identity of the killer couldn't be made public then, and it can't be made public now. Nobody in your country knows it was him, and neither do the citizens of London. The main motivation was to avoid aggravating relations between our two nations at the time, I understand. Correct. However, it has to be noted that there were some supporters of the professor's apparent cause. What? Supporters of a mass murderer? The majority of the men's victims were a blight on the aristocracy of the day. Somewhat ironically, their deaths actually benefited society as a whole. Or so a fair few thinkers in London believed, anyway. Right, I see. But it was still murder, wasn't it? It seems very similar, doesn't it? To the idea of the Reaper of the Bailey. Yeah. I mean, he knows he knows Kazuma was originally gonna come here, and he knows Genshin was his father. So he would have recognized him, right? Like, he says that, I mean, yeah, border police would be able to identify him, but if nothing else, Strongheart should recognize Kazuma by his appearance, right? Unless they didn't, like, telegraph over a description of him so that he knows what he looks like. But I think it's a reasonable assumption to say that he probably does know. I mean, it's not that big a deal if they do say that he doesn't know, because, like, oh, they only mentioned his name in writing. The first time you would have seen him is when he set foot in Britain. But, yeah, I don't know. That seems a little off. Alright, let's go talk to Sholmes. Hey! What was that? A man screaming in a most unflattering way. Do you think... could it have been Mr. Sholmes? Oh my, I do hope not. Why do you have umlauts? Is that a woman or a man? I can't tell. Are you French? Oh no, you're Italian. Okay, you're Italian. I don't want to do it anymore. Mon ami, mon ami. Stop this disgraceful display, huh? Who are these people? Look at their hair, it's bright red. Yeah, there's the red-headed league. I saw a little bit of it in the front. I think they must be clients of Mr. Sholmes. Right, you two. You come with me now. Down to the clink. No! Not in prison! It is dark and damp and I don't like it! Oh, the darkness it is, my friend. I am not scared. But you are always scared of the dark. Shut your mouth, you idiot! I will sit quietly in the dark and plan on next daring heist. I don't like this. I don't like this. Oh, tough. The fish is down in the yard. Now get moving. What a colorful bunch. Bye then, Ginny. Have fun. Oh yeah, thanks, Iris. And thanks, you're a great detective. Gina makes a fine detective herself, doesn't she? Oh, Susie and Bruno. Hello, Iris. We're home. Well, did you find your daddy? Yes, we arrived at the hotel just before he and his friend. Oh, well that's great news. I hope I'll get to see my daddy again soon. Yes, of course. Dr. John H. Wilson. So Iris, all that remains now is that greatest of problems known to man. But before we concern ourselves with that, I believe some tea is in order, don't you, my dear fellows? Is something wrong, Mr. Naruhodo? Do I have a crumb or such like on my face? Not so much on your face, as on your head, I'd say. Come along then, everyone. I've brewed a lovely special blend. Time for tea. Whatever is going on here today. In that case, let us sit and drink now. For I am, in fact, expecting a guest later today. Mr. Sholmes, who were the two gentlemen that were here before? Oh, just a pair of petty criminals. Nothing of significance. Of course, they have to make a living somehow. And when the mood takes me, I'm willing to turn a blind eye to all manner of infractions. When the mood takes you. All manners of infractions. But when such fellows sit aside of Mr. Herlock's Sholmes, well, that's when their luck runs out. Oh my, you were the target of a crime, Mr. Sholmes. Why not quickly devise a plan to entrap them and deliver them to a young detective ally? You should have asked Braxy to come too. We could have had an arresting tea party. I did send word, but no answer was forthcoming. The man is consummately in the wrong place at the wrong time. There's a word for it, I'm sure. Aha, I have it! A bungler. That's the word. Ah, yes. Bungling or Detective Lestrade. I mean, Detective Gregson. I mean, Detective Lestrade. Lestrade is the bungler, though. It's a good job he's not here to hear you say that. So those redheads have been up to no good. I wonder what the men did. We're not gonna find out. Well, clearly it's gonna be relevant later on. What was that about the greatest of problems known to man that you mentioned before? Is it another fiendishly intricate case, Mr. Sholmes? No, it's how do I get this hair dye out of my head? How should I best explain it? Are you aware of the theory of evolution by natural selection, perchance? Well, I think I've heard talk of it somewhere. Possibly. It's a revolutionary scientific theory that was newly proposed 40 years ago now. According to its author, Mr. Darwin, we humans were once apes who lived in the treetops. Wait, what? We were apes? Indeed, and from the very moment those apes descended from the canopy to live as humans, it has been our lot to be at the mercy of the greatest problem known to man. Our lot? What is this great problem, Mr. Sholmes? Why, is it not obvious, my dear madame? The problem of rent! Huh. But did you not receive a rather large sum of money from Madame Tuspel's only the other day? Pshaw! A large sum! One pot of herb for Iris and a new motor car for me later, and all of it has quite disappeared, I assure you. Honestly, Hurley, you know you squandered it. Yes, well, anyway, 2 days ago, I discovered the answer to man's greatest problem, for the coming month at least. And what was that answer? Why, there is a substantial clue, before your very eyes. Don't tell me, let me see. Humans are sorry creatures, unable to see what is in front of their noses. Let me give you some assistance. Don't look, but observe me very closely. There is one particular feature of my person that has changed. You should notice it in the end, I think. In the end? It's been stabbing me in both eyes right from the very beginning of our conversation. I think we might need another clue before you uncover the full answer, Miss Naruhodo. Thanks for the hint. I'll be tearing my hair out if this charade goes on much longer. You want me to read the newspaper at the back? No, you want me to read the advertisement for the Red-Headed League, probably. Mr. Sholmes, isn't it about time you told us the truth? Just over a week ago, you said to us. I will now tell you something of the first importance, my dear fellow. Great detectives are wont to lie. It will serve you well to remember that. The case aboard the SS Buria in January. Kazuma wasn't killed, and you knew he wasn't dead at the time. So what was really going on? The fellow was unconscious for a very long time. If he hadn't regained consciousness when he did, his life would have been in mortal peril. Of course, the side effect of the prolonged comatose state was amnesia, as you now know. It was a simple enough task to silence the crew. But how? After they carried him out of the cabin, I assembled them in the lobby area. Then I made them swear to leave him unconscious and have him unleave from the ship in Hong Kong as a murdered corpse. How horrible. It was necessary to find some material with which to persuade the crewmen to keep their word, of course. But why? Why do it in the first place? I will be at liberty to elaborate in due course. But for the time being, I would like to reassure you. I didn't foresee subsequent events. What events? His disappearance in Hong Kong. Oh! I believe I may have made a gross error of judgment. Mr. Sholmes. I've never actually seen him go that serious before. Like, for that long. Yeah, so... Well, I'm guessing he's been investigating the Reaper conspiracy and that he knows Kazuma is involved somehow. Maybe he was arranging for him to disappear so that his life would be saved or something? You know? Might be a possibility. That's where my mind is going right now. Okay. Let's go find this article, I guess. I guess we can look around. Yeah, it's probably the news article. This looks like last week's edition. What's that article circled in red ink there? It's in an advertisement column. It says... To the Red-Headed League. The Red-Headed League? What's that? I don't know. I've never heard of it before, but... There's something on my face. Clearly this has something to do with that lively hair. Yeah, that is from the story. Request to let Ezekiel help. Rather than it's now another vacancy over the town never to leave. 4 pounds a week with purely nominal service. Reading the other articles around here. The positive years so far in public health. Fewer cases of consumption reported. Smallpox is an all-time low. Cholera epidemic on the horizon. Drink only water which has previously been boiled. This is actually relevant news too. Yeah. Yeah, I know what consumption is. Yeah. I've heard of it. But the theory of miasma is being soundly rejected as experimental experience due to conclusive evidence supported by physician John Snow has concluded many years prior. Germ theory, wow. You know, like I said, I've probably said this before about the newspapers, but the newspapers have been actually doing a lot of very relevant background articles. You know, that's cool. It looks as though someone circled an advertisement in this paper, Mr. Sholmes. To the Red-Headed League? Does that strike you in some way? I was just thinking that, just maybe, it might be related to your bright red hair. So, at last you've learned to apply my methods, Mr. Naruhodo. Sorry. In the first instance, and quite indispensable, observation. Believe me, I could have seen that hair with my eyes shut. So then, allow me to regale you with the details of my latest exploits. Regale or boast? So what is the Red-Headed League, which seems to be the subject of the advertisement you've circled? You noticed it in the paper then? That, my dear fellow, was going to be the source of this month's rent payment. It was? How? According to the advertisement, the Red-Headed League is a distinguished institution of fellows of unspecified governments. In fact, the only condition for becoming a member is having red hair. That doesn't entirely surprise me. He's bullshitting. But listen to what the lucky redheads receive once they join. An unconditional salary of £4 a week. Oh my, £4 a week. But why? What are they paying people for? That I don't know. No details are given in the advertisement. But surely every red-headed person in the country will be flocking to join in that case. You're right, Susie. There's no time to lose. I'll put in my application at once. So will I. Just on the off chance. They might be stretching a point, I think. The trouble is, they have a fixed number of members, you see. Oh, I see. So once a certain number of people have joined, no one else can. But as luck would have it, one member recently passed away. It wasn't particularly lucky for the redhead in question, I feel, Mr. Sholmes. So you decided to try to join in his place? Correct. I mean, look at me. Have you ever seen such a red-headed fellow? No. So why? Why did it have to go so wrong? What? What on earth happened? A blunder, Mr. Naruhodo, though it pains me to admit it. Yeah. So, in the original Red-Headed League story, if you didn't know, chat, it actually ties into 1-5. 1-5's fake deduction reasoning was the Red-Headed League case. The Red-Headed League was concocted to get this guy out of his pawnbrokery, so that his place would be vacant and he was next door to a bank. And the two fellows who were the redheads in question, you know, they snuck over and they started digging while he was away at the Red-Headed League Club copying the Encyclopedia Britannica. So that was that case. And that was, that incident. So, yeah, now you know. What did you actually do to your hair, Mr. Sholmes? I'm glad you asked, Miss Usato. What you see atop my head is neither dyed nor a hairpiece. I changed the color of my hair overnight. By the wonders of chemistry. Chemistry? I was conducting some research into a method of rejuvenating spent tea leaves. And in the course of my work, I stumbled upon a potion that when taken, turns one's hair a flame-like red. Would you like to try it? It will make every hair on your body perfectly crimson. I think I'll pass. But Mr. Sholmes, is it quite safe to drink? Surely it's bad for you, isn't it? Amateurs are always hampered by such fears. Oh, I should have never adopted you, Mr. Sholmes. You mean to say? But of course. To earn £4 per week, one must be prepared to turn a blind eye to a little danger. The degree of red signals more than just a little danger, surely. So anyway, Hurley left full of confidence yesterday with his new red hair. For the park on Lime Street where the Red-Headed League were interviewing prospective new members. So what went wrong? The whole park was choked with red-headed folk, like a Costa's orange barrel. I queued for 8 hours solid before at last I reached the front. But when the panel of interviewers saw me, they immediately said, "Ah, Mr. Herlock Sholmes, are you in disguise to conduct an investigation?" So naturally, I had no choice but to reply, "Shh, don't give me away." After which, I could do little else but turn and leave. Then this morning, when I looked in the mirror, irritation stirred within me. So I turned that pair in to the police. Oh dear, what a disaster. For Hurley and those two redheads. Haha! Here is my guest now, my latest client, with money to spend. Yeah, he knew he was a criminal organization, clearly. Just that he was discovered. I'm guessing it's probably just literally this. Well, I mean, it may not be, but similar. Oh, I do hope it's an exciting case, Hurley. Remember, Iris, we are at present gripped by the greatest problem known to man. I must be willing to accept any case, no matter how unstimulating. Save locating a runaway, of course. Don't spare anyone's feelings, will you? Oh dear. I'm afraid that Hurley can lack a little tact, especially just before the rent is due. Mr. Sholmes! Mr. Herlock Sholmes! Please! Oh, please! Have we seen her before? This character looks vaguely familiar. No, I think she's new. Please find my husband. He's run away. Damn it. To upset me. I beg your pardon. Never mind. A personal matter. My apologies. What exactly are you trying to say, Mr. Naruhodo? I didn't say a word. Come, my dear madame. Be seated. Iris, some tea, if you please. Of course. What's the matter, Miss Usato? Oh, it's just that gentlewoman. I feel sure I've seen her somewhere before. Very recently. Yes, now that you come to mention it. Huh? Wait. Have we? Evie. No, yeah, I don't recognize her. As I explained earlier, my name is Evie Vigil. Ever vigilant? Evie Vigil? Evie Joe. I implore you to take the case, sir. Money is no object. Simply name your figure. Money and wealth are of little consequence to me, madame. Being offered a case to solve is a reward enough. Oh, Mr. Sholmes, you are the picture of benevolence. I will, of course, make a mental note of your offer, though, however, for contingent reasons. I trust you will remember your words also. If I might inquire, sir, This gentleman and lady would be... Oh, me. What I'm about to tell you, I should like to communicate in the strictest confidence, you understand? These are my friends. I assure you, you may say before despair anything which you may say to me. I see. I can vouch for the gentleman personally, after all. He's hard of hearing. Why did I ever get my hopes up? Alright, well, I guess we're listening into this case, so... Forgive me for asking this, Mrs. Vigil, but have we met somewhere before? Quite recently, perhaps. Oh my. Pshaw, my dear fellow, what is your intention? Clearly you have no ability to differentiate the facial features of the English. If you wish to invite the lady to tea, you must do so in a more gentlemanly fashion. Is it possible that you're the nice young lawyer from the trial I attended last week? Oh, wait, was she in the jury? Wait, she was in the jury. That's why I saw her, right? Right. Okay, yeah, that's why she seemed familiar. Yeah. She was the one who was like, oh, that seems so romantic, right? She was the one that, ooh, it's romantic. Ooh, romantic. That was her. Ah, that's where I saw her. Right. Okay. Ah, I knew I recognized her. Ah, yes, there you go. Now I remember, yeah. Oh gosh, oh golly, she shivers down my spine. That was her. I didn't quite recognize her because she's acting so differently now. It must be very difficult for you as a lawyer. Being hard of hearing, I mean. Pardon? Oh dear, I'm so sorry. Don't worry if you can't hear. It was frippery, really, nothing more. Now look what you started, Mr. Sholmes. Thank you very much. I believe it will be prudent for you to sit quietly in the corner. Yes. Tell us about your husband, madame. Mr. Vigil, my daily, is 40 years of age. I have a photograph here. An entirely unremarkable gentleman, by appearance at least. How long have you been married? It will be 15 years this year. We have a cordial relationship, and my husband's income is more than adequate, so we live quite comfortably. As it would appear. I need only look at you to know these things. Oh gosh! Your dress is the latest style, your hat clearly regularly groomed, and your eyes are animated. In short, you have no inkling as to why your husband might have disappeared, correct? And the daily vigil. Wait, oh, daily vigil and evening vigil. I get it. That's right. He is a kind man with a strong sense of loyalty, and he rather dotes on me. Which will point to the possibility that he has become embroiled in some incident or other. Oh, that is exactly what I fear must have happened, Mr. Sholmes. I'm quite beside myself. My husband's employment is somewhat unusual, you see. What if he's incurred some miscreant's ill will? What exactly is your husband's line of work? He's a warder at the prison. A guard. That is somewhat unusual. So, your husband is a prison warden. That's right, yes. Well, in actual fact, he's the chief warden. Indeed, I see. Well, chief prison warder certainly qualifies as something of a specialist occupation. Yes, it does indeed. My poor husband must prepare those dreadful punishments and see that they're carried out. Dreadful punishments? Does she mean capital punishments? And at such times, he must occasionally spend a night or two in the prison dormitory. For that extra responsibility, he is remunerated more handsomely than the other warders. Of course, we make no mention of my husband's work to the neighbors. Yes, I believe your prudence is justified. Tell me, at what prison is your husband engaged? Barclay Prison, Mr. Sholmes. Really? Barclay? Oh, a fine establishment. If I'm not mistaken, there is a large cemetery just behind it. Yes, that's correct. Lowgate Cemetery. No. Lowgate Cemetery. The very place we were discussing in court. That's unbelievable. Unbelievable, my dear fellow. And yet undeniable. Sorry, Mr. Sholmes. I'm afraid you've lost me. Ah, pay no heed, madame. Pay no heed. A private matter. This can't really be a coincidence, can it? So, to the matter of your husband's disappearance. When did you realize he was missing? Please try not to laugh. It was yesterday. I'm sorry, yesterday. That really is recent. Laughably so. The truth is, my husband does at times have occasion to spend a night away for his work. It's not at all out of the ordinary for him not to return home at night. But this is different. For him not to make any contact for a whole day, that has certainly never happened before. Oh, my dear Daly, whatever can have happened? My dear Mrs. Vigil, please, calm yourself. Now then, have you contacted the police? Why, naturally, but sadly, they refuse to listen to my pleas as my husband has only been missing for 1 day. I was asked to wait patiently at home. In truth, Mrs. Vigil, I concur with the police. However, let us not be hasty. I see no reason why we should not engage my deductive powers to track your husband down anyway. Oh, thank you, Mr. Sholmes. And furthermore, let me assure you, a chance to solve the greatest problem known to man for another month has no bearing on my decision. I seek only to put a sweet smile on another Londoner's face. That's really all there is to it. You have my eternal gratitude. I shall pay any sum you care to mention. You seek only to put this sweet's rent in your landlady's purse. That's all there is to it. Thank you for everything you have shared with us, Mrs. Vigil. I believe I have all the information I need to begin my investigation. Oh, please report to me soon with good news, sir. Fear not, madame. In a day or two, I shall be contacting you with a heartening report, I'm quite sure. So soon? Oh, how splendid, Mr. Sholmes. Good news should be delivered early, I always say. If you would be so kind as to leave the photograph of your husband in my possession. Thank you. Now, allow me to show you the door. I can't thank you enough, Mr. Sholmes. You've been simply marvelous. You know, I think it every time, Hurley. But how do you come up with such nonsense? Good news in a day or two. Are you sure? I can't be sure, of course, but then I didn't swear on it. I merely gave the good woman some hope. I hope to be able to give her good news, one might say. After all, the rent must be paid by the end of the day tomorrow. If by that time I successfully locate Mr. Vigil, we shall be mutually relieved. Wouldn't you agree, Miss Naruhodo? Don't look at me with those pleading eyes. Well, my dear fellow, do you hear the details of the case? Yes, my hearing is surprisingly good, actually. Excellent! And what did you make of it? Well, I was surprised to learn where her husband worked. At Barclay Prison, I mean. Ah, so you noted that. Of course, especially with the mention of Lowgate Cemetery. Lowgate Cemetery is at the rear of Barclay Prison, so it was renowned among us students at the university for being haunted by the ghosts of condemned convicts. Barclay Prison is where the notorious man was incarcerated. The professor. And now a warder from the prison has mysteriously disappeared, it would seem. It's all very peculiar. Indeed. But nothing you can't handle, I'm quite certain, Mr. Naruhodo. Sorry. Run along to the prison and see what you can glean. Would you? It's the prison governor you want. No doubt the man is equally worried. But aren't you going to go yourself? Surely you needn't ask. I can't possibly be seen out with this hair! But didn't you go to Lime Street with that hair? That was a quite different matter. So, I leave it in your capable hands. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm rather busy. Yeah, he's probably off to investigate some other thing by himself. He's just, you know, he's delegating. Of course you are. Well... this photograph is probably going to be relevant to something or other. Probably has to do with the gate in the back. At some point. Alright. Let me rehydrate real quick. Barclay Prison is on the outskirts of London, backing onto a lonely burial ground. Its four high outer walls loom quietly before it in the fog. Having requested a meeting, he was shown to the governor's office in the watchtower. What is that grandfather clock design? A guillotine? Oh, that's morbid. This place is full of hardened criminals. I can't oh, he's got accents. What accent is this? I definitely know that there's an accent that pronounces kinda like that. Scottish? Scottish, right? I can't do Scottish, I don't think. Yeah, this is Scottish. Okay. Galler. Gloria. I'm going to butcher this. Space for hard criminals. Can't remember the last time Seville was doing here. He didn't want to talk to the inmate, but to me. I'm gonna need this, and he's gonna need to cover it. You you can't know I am. A government barricaded. Oh, yes, it's a pleasure. I'm Ryusuke Naruhodo, defense lawyer. It's definitely Scottish. Yeah, Ken. Reckon. The Scottish is the one that abbreviates reckon into Ken. You can know who I am. Also, I can't help but notice the Cramorant in the back. It's not just me, right? There's a Cramorant in the cage. I know it's probably based off like a bird or something, but it's the exact same color scheme. It's a Cramorant. All it's missing is the Pikachu in the beak. I need to know, I see. Does that mean... Yes, I'm a visiting student of law from the Empire of Japan. Japan! It's Japan! Yes? I need no candy here, laddie. You should prepare a prison next door, eh? I didn't notice another prison next door, sir. Anyway, we came to ask you some questions about... I didn't like to be so direct, but... I've no intention of speaking with the likes of you, suspicious-looking Easterners. Now get out of my hair. So as soon as he finds out that we're from Japan, he reacts like this. That surely means... I think it's because of the Professor case. You think so too? 10 years ago, Genshin Asogi, also known as the Professor, was incarcerated at this prison. And then after his execution, he apparently re-emerged from his grave in the cemetery behind the prison. I might have known. You're sniffing around about the case, aren't you? The agency, part of Professor's great web, no doubt. No, not at all. We're going here for a punchy light suit. We're going. Clearly the ghost of the killer still haunts this place. We're not going to get anywhere here. Unless we can somehow prove to this man there's nothing suspicious about us. Governor Kaiden. What are you thinking, Mr. Sato? I feel sure that name came up in conversation recently somewhere. I was wondering if whoever mentioned him might have some ideas to help us. Come to think of it, I have the same feeling. Yeah, we gotta go and talk to Mikotoba. Oh. I just want to look at the Cramorant. Alright. Mikotoba-san, could you help us out? That's Professor Mikotoba over there. That's Danban over there. Oh, hello you two. I was just taking a moment to catch up with the world now that I've unpacked. But where's Judge Jigoku? Yes, he's not the relaxing sort. He's taken himself off to pay his respects to all the legal bigwigs. Having only just arrived in the country today. Goodness, he is full of energy. Professor, you mentioned something before. About how you'd known the prison governor at Barclay Prison. Oh, Governor Kaiden, you mean? So it is the same man. Father, we must speak with the governor. But he refused to talk to us. He said we're suspicious Easterners. Well, I'm sure if I accompanied you, it would be a very different story. Oh, would you? That would be wonderful, if you have time now. Sadly, as you can see, I'm very busy at the moment. Busy drinking coffee on a comfortable settee. Now, I have rather a lot to prepare for tomorrow, you know. Oh, sorry. I didn't say that out loud, did I? You Mikotobas are alarmingly good at reading people's thoughts. Or could it be that you Naruhodos are alarmingly bad at hiding your thoughts? Let's not fall off now. I have an idea. What's he writing on that piece of paper? Here's a letter of introduction from you. Hopefully when he sees my name, he'll change his tune. Ah, thank you. Good luck then. And he's gone back to reading. Well, we're gonna have to give this up, so we might as well take a look at it. Professor Mikotoba has wonderful handwriting, doesn't he? This dark-suited young man is not in the least bit untrustworthy. Is it just me, or does that make me sound extremely untrustworthy? I thought we should at least call you a nice young man. I'm really not sure that would help. Oh, it looks like this is some sort of steamship ticket. The SS Grouse, first class cabin, 001. Yokohama departure, 11 September. London arrival, 1st November. Ah, that's the boat that Professor Mikotoba and Judge Shikoku came on from Japan, isn't it? Yes, I think it called at Dunkirk on the north coast of France one night before finally arriving in Dover. I think it's been almost a year since we arrived in Dover on the SS Buria. It seems a shame not to keep the ticket as a memento of your trip, don't you think? Yes, I agree. I have mine safely in my diary. And I keep mine in my wallet, so I have it with me at all times. Oh, well, how strange. Where could it have gone? Are you like this on purpose, Mr. Naruhodo? Did I imagine it, or was that comment accompanied by a little sigh? Wait, this is relevant? Huh. Is the voyage time going to be relevant? Huh. Interesting. If you just cast your eyes over this, Governor Kaiden. What's this then? You can't put a wool in my eyes, you good-for-nothing Japanese student. Mikotoba. That young jock from the forensics laboratory. That Mikotoba? Yes, exactly. Him. Oh dear. Perhaps I should have said something sooner. I'm Yuji Mikotoba's daughter, Susato. Jeez! You're the young man's daughter! You didn't need to think to mention that before. I do apologize. Aye, well, you best take it a seat then. Come for your cup of tea, perhaps. And then ain't forget to try one of these wee handcuff biscuits. Your father's influence is nothing short of amazing. I'm bitterly regretting not announcing who I was from the outset now. So then, what can I do for you then? Well, we're currently investigating a case. It's one of your warders, you see. He's gone missing. Missing? That's right. It's surely been reported to you as well, being the prison governor. And nothing of the sort. There's no missing persons in my prison. Oh, but how can that be? It's Mr. Daily Vigil, your chief warder. Eh? Vigil? That's right. His wife came to us and asked us to investigate his disappearance. Let's skip the part about him only going missing yesterday for now. Clearly that means something to him. Would you be so kind as to tell us what you know, sir? Aye, of course. But before that, what's with the cramorant? I never had expected to find a parrot in a prison. It must be the governor's pet. Given where we are, it's hard not to see the poor creature as a prisoner. Let me out! Then kill me! Ah! Has the bird learned to mimic the plaintive cries of the inmates in the cells? Ugh, no. He was one of the 3 siblings, you see. And he still calls out the names of his 2 brothers like they're all the time. Right. Let me out! Didn't kill me? Aye. I hear ya, laddie. You want your dinner, eh? Didn't do it. It's a parrot. Chat, it really does look like Cramorant, right? Like the Pokemon. It's not just me, it's the exact same color. Guillotine clock. This grandfather clock is fitted with a terrifying blade that keeps dropping down. It's modeled on the guillotine, a French execution device. You might have heard of it. And yes, before you ask, it can chop. Heads off, you mean? Heavens, no! Carrots and parsnips and so forth. Oh. If you place a large carrot at the bottom there in the morn, by evening it'll happen cut clean in 2. Well, the blade must have an almost indescribable edge on it then. If it takes that long. Alright, alright, we'll talk to him. We understand that Mr. Vigil was the chief warder here at the prison. Aye, that he was. Strong sense of responsibility and dedicated to the job booted. So fine warder. Sorry, did you say was? Aye. Doesn't it work here no more? He left the job. Oh my. When was this exactly? There's a question. When was it a boot? Can't have been much less than 10 years ago now. What? 10 years ago? He stopped working here 10 years ago? Aye, as I minded. He can, and the fella's name in all that time. That's a worry if he's gone missing though. But Mrs. Vigil made no mention of it. I think perhaps, Mr. Naruhodo, that his wife simply doesn't know. I think she's unaware that he no longer works here. Governor Kaiden, can you tell us what happened? Why did Mr. Vigil give up on his job here? That's important, is it? Oh, it's 10 years ago, so it's definitely related. Yes, I believe it may be. What are you thinking, Mr. Naruhodo? I can't help wondering. Given that it was 10 years ago. Ah! Which was exactly when the professor was being held at his prison. So Mr. Vigil actually resigned from the position of Chief Warder 10 years ago, you're telling us. What happened to make him leave the job? In actual fact, he didn't leave the job willingly. He had no choice in the matter. I mean, he was dismissed. It was after a particular walk. Sorry? A walk? Aye, that old word for it in here. A walk to the gallows. An execution. It's the job of the chief warder to prepare the gallows tree and oversee any executions, you see. Only, Vigil did something unthinkable on that last walk he was manning. What did he do? I'm sorry, but I cannot reveal that information. But I can tell you that it's very rare for a chief warder to be relieved of his post. But why would Mrs. Vigil know about it? She appears to be under the impression that her husband still works here. I wouldn't care anything about that, I'm afraid. Can you perhaps answer one more question about the circumstances of his dismissal? And what would that be, Ian? That last execution that Mr. Vigil was responsible for overseeing. Was it by any chance the professor's? My thoughts exactly. I'm sorry, I really am. But I'm not at liberty to answer that. I see. Yeah, it's confidential, right? Fair enough. My father came to Britain all those years ago in order to study forensic medicine. But you seem to have been well acquainted. The dead room, the prison, and the cemetery have a lot to do with one another. After all, they need fresh corpses for forensic research. Do you, Ken? Yes, I can imagine. The advancement of medical science isn't always particularly palatable. Your father worked in the laboratory just on the far side of the graveyard, in the basement of St. Sinners. It's still in use today. St. Sinners. That's come up before, I'm sure. Yes, that's right. We've been there. Nikotobo and I often used to ride in the carriage together and negotiate terms. For more fresh material, I suppose. Aye, and we used to sit in here for hours and gab on wood dissection and all sorts. Oh, it takes me back. Over a pot of tea and a plate of cup biscuits, of course. How charming. He was a good fella, your father. Reliable and dead set on his work. I'm afraid I'll never understand you Japanese. Because of Genshin Nasogi, I suppose. Well, I can't tell you anything else. Thank you so much for your time, Governor. Oh, one moment before you're away, Hen. I'm sure I have it here somewhere. Ah, found it. Here, take this as a wee souvenir of your visit to the prison. What is it? It's Vigil's dismissal notice. It's 10 years old now, of course. Oh my, are you sure? Cunny. Yeah, sorry. It's been a while since I've heard Scottish. Okay. Ah, it's no trouble at all. It's not the original mind. Like I said, I'm probably butchering the accents, but I'm giving it a shot. Fair. Thank you very much, Governor Kaiden. Well, in return, do me a favor and never come back here. That case is closed. Well, I think we ought to return to Baker Street for the time being. Yes, I agree. We need to report back to Mr. Sholmes of what we found about Mr. Vigil. But will he tell Mrs. Vigil, I wonder? Aiding and abetting the escape of the prisoner of convict is part of the execution. Ah. By the way, this sounds like another case actually. Like this setup, a woman who has found a woman who has a missing husband. This is another Sherlock Holmes case, I think. Was it the case of the yellow face in the mirror? Something like that. Adventure of the Yellow Face, that's the one. Yeah, I remember. Oh, right, it is. Yeah. The woman. Well, it's different. It was the husband who was looking for the wife. Right. Not the wife looking for the husband, but the husband looking for the wife. Mr. Grunt Monroe and his wife Effie. Like Abby, you know. It's pretty close. So yeah, in that case, there was the woman was missing, and the man was like, you know, worried, suspected affairs, and then Holmes initially thought that, like, you know, he got the prediction wrong. Actually, it was one of the cases where he actually got his prediction wrong. So that's why the story is notable. He originally thought that, like, the husband, because the husband has been spotted, like, going into this cottage and seeing this person, and there's like a strange yellow face in the window of that place, and yeah, so they go in there. Then you find, like, sorry, the husband, the wife, Effie. So they find, and then they found out initially. So the wife had a previous husband from America, and initially the theory was, like, the theory that Holmes came up with was that the husband, the ex-husband from America, has returned and is blackmailing her, and that's who, like, the weird yellow face in the window was. But he went in, and it turns out, nope, actually, that was her kid from the previous marriage, and she found out, and the kid was mixed race, you know, half black, and she was trying to keep it secret because she was, like, worried that, like, her husband was going to take the news of her being a mother to a mixed race child badly. And then, you know, it turns out that the guy is a stand-up guy and is like, no, they should have told me. I will take this child in. I will, like, you know, he's part of the family. I will raise him as a son. Because apparently the old husband died and everything, you know. So that was the story. So suspected affair by another person, but it wasn't the case. And then Holmes Holmes mentions to Watson, like, if I ever come across, like, I'm coming too overconfident in my cases, please just remind me of this case and I will be infinitely obliged to you. Yeah. So yeah, I went on another long tirade. I like Holmes stories. But like, you know, this seems like a pretty similar setup, and the name is similar too, so I wonder if this is where we're going. So he's been laid off, so he might be doing something else somewhere, and, like, maybe now he and Holmes might come back and suspect an affair. We're back. Hello, you two. I thought you'd be back before long, so I baked some scones for us all. Ah, so that's what the delicious smell is. Greetings, my dear fellows. I am now Super Saiyan Blue! He's gone from Super Saiyan God to Super Saiyan Blue. Next, his hair is gonna turn white, and he's gonna go Ultra Instinct. You've returned a good deal sooner than I was anticipating. Hello, Mr. Sholmes. I see your power levels have increased. Hello, Mr. Sholmes. Say nothing. Your thoughts are written all over your faces in any case. It turns out that it may have been advisable to test my hair color restoration tonic before application. Oh my. Pray, tell me, what of our water friend? Have you gathered some new information? Oh, yes, something very surprising, in fact. Though it's not a patch on your hair, to be honest. It most certainly isn't. But still, we discovered that... Sholmes! Oh. Drop everything, Sholmes. This is more important. Gina? I can't let them and Evit. What's happened? Clearly a very grave matter indeed. For Miss Lestrade made no mention of my hair whatsoever. It's the boss. What do you mean? Inspector Gregson? The boss is... He's dead. Oh, shit. What? They just found his body. Shot with a pistol. What? But... Inspector Gregson? He was... murdered? No. Not Grexy. Come in, my dear girl. Tell us the whole story. Damn. They killed Inspector Gregson? Wow, they are really not shy about killing Holmes characters. First they kill Watson, and now they kill Gregson. Wow. And I think he knew about it too. He wanted to flee the country, right? He was wanting to flee the country. Are you serious, Gina? Inspector Gregson was... he was really shot. I don't know much about what happened myself yet. They're still there, investigating the scene. Where did this take place? A little rented room in a building full of flats on Fresno Street. The outskirts of town, nowhere near his home. He was perhaps investigating a case then. The thing is, no one at the yard knows nothing about no case around there. Oh, how strange. The boss was so good to me. I know I ain't up to much yet, but one day I was gonna show him I'd become a proper detective. Oh, Ginny. So, who did this? Do you have any idea who the culprit is? We got him already. Already? They've caught the shooter so soon? A witness reported something was going on, and the boys got straight down there and took care of him. Who? What awful person did this? I still can't believe it myself. Gina? It was the Reaper. Wait a minute. You don't mean they've arrested Lord Van Zeeks for it? That's right. That Reaper bloke's gone and shot the boss. No, Lord Van Zeeks. Are you quite sure, Miss Lestrade? It's Barak Van Zeeks the police have arrested? I saw him with my own eyes in the interview room at the yard. I don't believe it. But there were witnesses, and they're all saying he was him. So you mean there were actually multiple witnesses? They heard the gunshot, apparently. When our lot got to the scene, there was only the boss and that Reaper bloke in the room. But there's no way Lord Van Zeeks would have taken Gregson's life. I just don't believe it. I don't believe it either. Thank you for informing us, Miss Lestrade. This really is most terrible news. I'm dreadfully sorry. What are you saying sorry for? You didn't do nothing! Well, anyway, I'm taking a cab over to the scene right now. Please come in all, as soon as you can. You gotta help. It's the detectives' lot to appear whenever some sinister plot is unfolded. It's a wonder we all look haggard. Sometimes these things are almost too much for the nerves. Mr. Sholmes. What use is there in being a great detective if I fail to see something like this coming, How can I let this happen to Gregson? To Gregson? Damn, he's actually upset about it. Wow. Mr. Naruhodo, I shall leave at once to begin my investigations. Of course, yes, we will too. It will be helpful if you could talk to Mr. Reaper and see what you can glean. I'm sure you'll intend to do so anyway. Until later then. Inspector Gregson, dead. And Lord Van Zeek's arrested. Bruno, Susie. I've called you a handsome. It's waiting outside. Thanks, Iris. Shall we, Mrs. Sato? Yes. Wow. The plot is going directions. Well, I'm sure the other case of the warden is probably going to factor into it at some point or other. But wow. What a premise. Alright, chat, do you think this is a good time to, like, break up the investigation? Investigation periods don't have to be continued, so we gotta decide when a good place to, like, divide them into is. So, yeah, so far that felt like the, you know, the background information, the setting the pace, and then now the murders happen, right? So now the next half of this section is gonna be the investigation. So I figured this is probably a good place to put a bookmark in, right? The crimes investigations lasting before trial day 1. Alright. That might take some time, I assume. Gotta go to talk to Barrock. There's probably gonna be a lot of back and forth, and then we're gonna have to go investigate. So yeah, let's put we'll put a bookmark in it, but we'll be back pretty soon, yeah. I am very, very interested to see where this goes. So yeah, I'll be back sooner than later. Don't worry, chat. Alright? Alright. I'll catch you guys around soon.